Good morning, dolls, and welcome to Little Gretchen's workshop. I'm realizing more and more how many of you all are new to miniature. So today I just want to share with you how to collect and store things that you can use for your miniature making process. I also want to remind you not to despise your small beginnings, and I want to encourage you to be mindful in your collection process. Before I go too far, I just want to mention the two people who gave me super thanks in the month of August, and that was Kelly Penny and Fanciful Devices. I appreciate your gifts because it helps me to buy things like this that help me stay organized so I can continue to create videos and content for this channel. So thank you so much. There have been times that I've mentioned how I have my little bags of what are you keeping this for, and I've even mentioned to never let people call your supplies trash. But Dal, sometimes I have to be honest, some of my supplies were looking like trash. So I think that it would be a better practice if I organize my supplies and put them in respectable containers so that things will look like actual supplies rather than junk in a bag. Now, dolls, containers like this can be found anywhere craft supplies are sold. So, dolls, I'm not going to tell you what to put where, but I will give you some suggestions. I kind of use the same concept that they used to teach on Sesame Street when I was a little girl. Things that are alike should go together. This is the one place in my life that matchy, same works well. I have these other two big tubs. Now, these I actually had in other parts of my house, and I actually repurposed them. I used to have things in them that I no longer use. I emptied them out, purged what was in the containers, and now I've repurposed them in my studio to use for dollhouse building supplies and fabric. Now, dolls, I will admit I still have work to do, but now at least all of the wood and building supplies are in one place. So now I don't have to dig in all kinds of little bags of wood all over the room. I just go to this box. And although the box looks very full, this section looks a lot neater than it did. Now, I did kind of organize things in a way that would work for the way I process or the way that I work. So I do have like subcategories inside this box, but organize your things in a way that it just make it easy for you to get your hands on them when you need them, or if you get an idea, you, like I said, you don't have to go on a scavenger hunt to find the supplies you need for your project. Now, this is a similar design to the bigger box, but it's a little bit smaller, and I use it to store some of my smaller fabric supplies like foam, stuffing, lace, and trims. And again, I'll probably divide things up more, but now at least they're all in one container. I also got some of these flat containers, which I think are really great for my fabrics. And I love that they're clear so I can look at them at a glance and know what fabrics are in here because it's clear. And so I just stack everything together. Well, it's not perfectly together, but at least it's all fabric, no lace, no buttons, no beads, only fabric, which will really make a difference in my creation time because I can get to my things quickly. And I felt really proud of my progress until I looked at this section. So we're not going to talk about that right now, dolls. We're going to move on. Just look away. Now, as I was organizing and purging things, look what I found. Now, if anybody would be interested in these doll stands, please email me. Now, dolls, this container is kind of unconventional. It's a tomato crate. It was full of tomatoes a week ago. I use it to tote things around the house when I'm working on my projects in different rooms. Now, this is an old shoe container that I never actually used for shoes, but I had something else in it and I actually purged it, so it's going to come in handy. Now, these are little applesauce containers. My mom loves applesauce, so she saves these little cups for me. They're great for mixing paint, mixing resin, and these are those pill day of the week dividers. They're really great for saving or storing really small things. They close nice and tight. Most of the people that I know that actually have these, they never use them, so I asked for them. Now, some people may not think of this as a storage container, but it absolutely is. They're inexpensive freezer bags, and I choose the freezer bag ones because they're a little heavy duty. They're thicker than the other ones, and they zip so things aren't falling all over. And I also just want to remind you of another unconventional option. This is a really old cosmetic bag, like the kind you travel with, And I really never put cosmetics in it, but it's a good size for keeping maybe things like files or things that might be sharp or things you just don't want laying around on your desk. Now, dolls, I feel a little vulnerable because I'm going to show you some things about myself that you may not know. So, I'm into trash to treasure items, but that means I have a tendency to regularly collect things that many people would consider trash. Now, I keep it in this handy Tupperware portable pie serving container. Yeah, it's pretty old and have had it a long time, but like I said, it comes in really handy for storing my supplies. So I just want to kind of show you the type of things I collect and save to use to make miniatures. And not only do I collect these things personally, but I do enlist people to collect things for me as well. Now, these are seals for milk containers that are great for making dishes. Now, this is a screw-off wine lid, good for pots and pans. These are supports for plastic kits that make great pipes. And that's a straw, good for so many things. I'm not sure where I got this mesh from. And these are jelly and butter containers, great for making sinks and things. So, dolls, the possibilities are endless and only limited by your imagination. Now, dolls, to be honest, some of the things I collect, I know exactly what I can and will make with them. And then there are other things that I collect and I have no idea what I'm going to use them for. And to give you a little perspective, these are toothpaste caps, and I actually use toothpaste caps as lampshades to some lamps I made from some broken earrings. Some people call it recycling, some call it upcycling, some people call it hoarding. I just call it preparing for all the possibilities. I think it's definitely important for you to develop what I call the miniaturist eye, where you can see things that other people don't see. I want to challenge you to look around and see what you have around you that you can create miniatures with. So I just wanted to give you a glimpse of some of the things you can use to make miniatures. Now, dolls, if you look closely, you can see that's a cylinder from a tape container, and I use it to cut my polymer clay cakes. So I just want you to look around and see how many household things you could use to make miniatures with. So, dolls, I just want to show you something else really quick. Now, this is a little pot that I created many years ago. I used copper wire, twisted copper wire, air dry clay, and some acrylic paint. So even though I love this little pot, I just want you to see that sometimes your early pieces don't look that great, but if you continue on the path, you will get better. Now, dolls, this is a little picture that I actually made out of clay, and it was kiln fired. I probably made this in elementary school. I was maybe 11 years old. I'm very proud of this little pot because it reminds me of my beginnings, my early years. I was trying so hard to make miniatures for my beautiful dollhouse my dad had given me, but it was pretty crude and it looks pretty bad. But I just want you to realize when you first start, sometimes you struggle with proportions and scale and thickness and things like that. And just to show you what I mean, by the time I was 12, I had created this. Now again, it's still crude, it's a little chunky, but I actually carved the legs, I shaped the back, no template, no kit, my own design using scraps and probably a really dull craft knife, and of course lots of glue. Now, dolls, we're working on the dress shop. I just want to show you a little hat box I made many years ago. Again, it actually doesn't even open, but I just love the velvet. I found some purple feathers and something that looks like a flower. So these are just more examples of my early pieces to remind me how much I've grown. So no matter where you are in your creative process, if you continue to work, you will get better. So always be encouraged and don't discard all of your early pieces. Keep a few so you'll be able to see your progress. In the midst of my organizing and purging, I found some pictures of some of my early dollhouses. This is the inside shot of a dollhouse I made from cardboard, and you see I was using anything that I could find to create miniatures for my dollhouse. Boxes, bowls, jars, spools, scraps of fabric. But look, you can see my little rocking chairs in that room with the red blanket. And if you look closely, you can see my little cardboard house is actually painted, and I have shutters that are closed. Now, this is a picture of me with some dolls, Barbies, the Sunshine Family, And you see the Etch-a-Sketch there. That was probably 1976. So this looks like the Christmas before I got my original dollhouse that's featured on this channel. Now here's another picture of the inside of that cardboard house. Now this picture is actually a view of the kitchen, and you can see I made a little cardboard stove and a sink out of a perfume bottle, towel racks from pipe cleaners, and I do actually have a few copper pots and pans and some bottles. But dolls, I just want you to see my desire to create was pretty strong even then. I was literally making miniatures by any means necessary. Now dolls, this is a quick glimpse at my original dollhouse as I was decorating. This was probably a year after I got it. So I want to encourage those of you who are new to collecting, just collect exactly what you love. Don't just buy up a lot of stuff. Allow yourself to collect over time so you really end up with a house full of things you genuinely love. This is not a race to the finish. Don't just buy to fill up the space. Now again, to give you perspective, this is the outside of the rooming house dollhouse. Now these pictures were taken roughly 18 years ago. And you can see how crudely the windows are cut, how rough the wood looks. I had to fill in areas with putty because of the splintering. But the house was a mess. It was a dirty mess. It had suffered and endured several Michigan winters when I purchased it from the previous owner. But this is a full image of the house as it was when I first got it. So comparing it to what it looks like now, again, dolls, that was 18 years ago. So give yourself a chance to develop and build a collection. Work on it, plan it. Take the time to learn to create some of the beautiful things in your collection, and then save your coins to buy the things that are really, really special, or things you really just don't want to learn how to make. But honestly, cast off the notion of finishing. And here's a picture of the house after I painted some of the walls with kilns to block the stain and to begin my renovation process. So dolls, I just want you to let go of the idea of rushing to the finish, because all the joy is truly in the process. Now, if you enjoyed this video today, definitely let me know in the comments. Also like, share, and subscribe. And I'm looking forward to seeing you on the next episode of Little Gretchen's Workshop. Bye-bye now, dolls.